In this session, we're going to look at CSS, or cascading style sheets. Now, if you're really familiar with CSS, you may not want to take this particular session, but it might be a good refresher for you. We're not going to go into too much detail here, but just help you understand the basics of CSS. As I mentioned, CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. It defines how to display HTML elements on your web page. In days gone by, we'd fill our HTML documents with all kinds of tags trying to make it look right on a page, rather than just the static Times Roman. Well, all of those font tags and other tags made quite a mess. So CSS came along to define how to display these elements by using divs and styles and other formatting options. In this course, we're going to use external style sheets. You can do inline or internal CSS, but we're going to recommend against it because it just, again, kind of defeats the purpose. When you go to change your template, all of those old styles will be in your articles, and you'll have to go and edit them. This is especially true if you've pasted from Word, which is a huge no-no in Joomla. So we're going to stick with external style sheets and show you how to make them really work for you. All right, let's take a quick look at a pretty simple three-column layout that allows us to understand what CSS does. Here's my HTML file. It's really simple. HTML, head, title, the link to my style sheet, the body tag, and just some basic containers. An outer container, my header container, left, right, and center columns. Close that out, put a footer in, and close the container. One problem with this CSS layout is that the containers don't go all the way to the bottom if it happens to be shorter than another container. So we see the background here and here not really going to the bottom. That's really easy to fix, and we're going to look at that later, but this is just a simple layout I wanted to look at first. Let's take a look at how that works out in our CSS. Our outer container, the width is 90% of the page with a 10% margin, background color of white, the font color is gray, it has a border around it so we can just see what the container looks like. If we look at it in Firebug, we see the same CSS that we just looked at. The nice thing with Firebug, of course, is we can hover over different colors and it will show us what those colors are. If I eliminate any of those just by clicking out of it, it shows me what it would look like if that wasn't there. My left nav is 110 pixels wide with a 0 margin and it's floated left, and the background color is that light gray. The right nav is floated right with 0 margin and its width is 160 pixels. This is what gives the basic three-column shape. Again, in CSS there's a lot of different ways to do this. This is the most simple way. It's not the most efficient way, but it is the most simple way just to get you started. And then the center content column has a margin left of 140 and a margin right of 200. That's what gives the shape and size of this center column. If I want to play with this and look at it in different ways, let's say I want to make my left nav a little bigger. I can just go move that up and you'll see what it's doing to my center column, making a mess of it actually. But let's say I wanted it to be 175 pixels. Now I can come over to my content column and change that margin left and make it larger so that I get to see, okay, well there's the layout I want. So now it's 205 pixels and the left is 175. We haven't actually changed anything. Let's go back over to our CSS, and on the left we're going to change that to 175, and the content, click Save, refresh, and now we've changed our CSS layout. If this was a Joomla template, that would have applied it to every single page that that template was used for on our Joomla site. So in a nutshell, that's really as simple as it gets. I can define colors, borders, line heights, padding, layout. Everything I need for my Joomla template is found in my CSS file. A couple of my favorite websites for CSS tutorials. w3schools.com has a great CSS introductory course. Really encourage you to take that if you're brand new to CSS. One of my favorite advanced sites is csstricks.com. This site is just an excellent repository of some really advanced CSS tricks. The owner's name is Chris Coyer. He's from Madison, Wisconsin. Very, very skilled, very, very talented CSS guy. His articles are free, as are his screencasts that'll show you how to do some of the CSS type stuff that he talks about. If you're really wanting to learn CSS and get advanced, this is one of the sites I'd encourage you to look at least weekly. All right, let's get started.